1. The power of 4 seconds. You're in a heated text battle with your best friend. You've just read their latest message, and it's filled with words that sting like a swarm of angry bees. Without thinking, you hammer out a reply, sharp, fast, and designed to hurt. You hit send. A second later, regret washes over you. What if you had paused, just for a moment, long enough to ask yourself, is this what I really want to say? Peter Bregman's book 4 Seconds is all about those little moments, the tiny pause between what happens to us and how we react. It's about how stopping, even for a heartbeat, can turn regret into wisdom, chaos into calm, and failure into success. 4 seconds might sound like no time at all, but it's just enough to change your life. Why we react without thinking. You've probably heard the phrase, old habits die hard, right? That's because your brain is like a super efficient computer, running programs it's learned over years. Someone says something mean? Program. Snap back with a nasty comment. You're bored in class? Program. Pull out your phone. These reactions are automatic. Scientists say this happens because of something called the habit loop. Your brain gets a cue, something happens, triggers a routine, you react, and then seeks a reward, you feel better, or so you think. But here's the catch. Most of these routines are on autopilot. Bregman doesn't suggest you turn your life upside down or spend hours meditating. His approach is refreshingly simple. When you feel the urge to react, count to 4. In those few seconds, you give yourself the power to act thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Section 1. Breaking free from old habits. Habits are sneaky little things. They creep into your life and settle down like an old, comfy chair you can't seem to get rid of, even when it's broken. You might wake up every day and promise yourself, today, I'll be different. But then, before you know it, you're back to scrolling on your phone instead of starting that essay, or eating chips while promising yourself just one more episode. So, why are habits so hard to break? Peter Bregman explains it's because your brain loves them. Habits save energy. Imagine if you had to consciously think through every little thing, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. Exhausting, right? Your brain creates habits to make life easier, but some of those habits aren't so helpful. Why we get stuck. Think of habits as a path in the woods. The more you walk on the same trail, the clearer and easier it gets. Your brain builds trails too, with a chemical called dopamine giving you little rewards for following them. But if the trail leads to procrastination or overeating, the reward is temporary, and you're left feeling worse later. Meet Jake, a 16-year-old expert in the fine art of procrastination. Whenever Jake sat down to study, his phone would magically end up in his hand. Just 5 minutes, he'd tell himself, diving into memes and messages. 5 minutes turned into 50, and before he knew it, the night was gone. And so was his chance to prepare for his math test. Jake's mom introduced him to the 4-second rule. She told him, next time you feel the urge to grab your phone, just stop and count to 4. Ask yourself, do I really want this? Jake laughed. What difference could 4 seconds make? But one night, as Jake reached for his phone, he remembered. He paused. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the first time, he realized something. He didn't even want to scroll through social media. He just didn't want to study. Instead of opening an app, Jake grabbed his math book and gave himself a deal. 20 minutes of study, then a 5-minute break. To his surprise, it worked. Tools to slow down impulses. 1. Pause and count. When you feel the pull of a habit, pause and count to 4. 2. Ask questions. Use the pause to think. Why do I feel this way? What do I really want to do? 3. Replace, don't erase. It's easier to swap a bad habit for a better one than to quit cold turkey. For Jake, it was trading endless scrolling for quick study breaks. Section 2. Why we say yes too much. Humans are wired to want approval. Saying no can feel awkward, like you're letting someone down or being selfish. But here's the kicker. Every time you say yes to something you don't really want to do, you're saying no to something else, like your own priorities or well-being. Let's talk about Maya, a junior who wanted to do it all. She joined the debate team, volunteered at a shelter, signed up for a baking contest, and still tried to maintain straight A's. When her best friend asked her to tutor him in algebra, she didn't hesitate. "Of course," she said, even though her own schedule was already packed. Maya thought she was being kind, but soon she was missing deadlines and forgetting commitments. One night, she broke down in tears, overwhelmed and frustrated. Her older brother noticed and shared Bregman's advice. Next time someone asks you for something, pause, count to 4. Think about what you're agreeing to before you say yes. Maya wasn't sure it would work, but the next day, when a classmate asked her to take over a fundraiser, she stopped. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that pause, she realized she couldn't take on another thing without falling apart. "I'd love to help, but I can't right now," she said, and for the first time, it felt okay. How to say no nicely. 1. Be honest, not harsh. Instead of a blunt, "No, try. I wish I could, but I'm already swamped." 2. Offer alternatives. "I can't help tonight, but maybe we can tackle it together tomorrow." 3. Don't over-explain. A simple, "I'm really busy right now," is enough. You don't owe anyone a detailed excuse. Saying no to things that don't align with your priorities means you're saying yes to what matters most. It's not selfish, it's smart. Section 3. Why arguments get worse. Here's the thing about conflicts. They're usually not about what they seem. Your fight with your brother isn't really about the headphones. It's about feeling disrespected. His angry response isn't just about you yelling. It's about feeling blamed. Bregman explains that when emotions are high, people stop listening and start defending. Words fly like arrows, and each one makes things worse. That's why the 4-second pause is so powerful. It gives you time to cool down and think. Conflict isn't just a family thing. It happens with friends too. Sarah and Emma were inseparable until one day, Emma posted a photo with another friend, tagging it, #besties. Sarah was hurt and replied with a sarcastic comment. "Guess I've been replaced." Emma fired back, "Don't be so sensitive." Things got ugly fast. When Sarah learned about the 4-second rule, she tried something different. The next time Emma annoyed her, Sarah paused. Instead of reacting, she texted, "Hey, can we talk? I've been feeling a little left out." Emma admitted she hadn't meant to hurt Sarah, and their friendship was back on track. Next time you feel anger bubbling up, here's what to do. 1. Pause. Count to 4. Don't say or do anything. 2. Breathe. Deep breaths can stop anger from taking over. 3. Reframe. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? 4. Respond, don't react. Use calm, clear words to explain your feelings or solve the problem. Section 4. Leading with confidence and clarity. Leadership often feels like pressure. People are looking to you for decisions, guidance, and sometimes even inspiration. When things go wrong, it's easy to react impulsively, snap at your team, panic, or avoid the problem altogether. These reactions might feel satisfying at first, but they rarely solve anything. Sophia was president of her school's environmental club. She had big dreams: planting trees, reducing waste, organizing a community cleanup. But every meeting turned into chaos. People threw out a million ideas, and they'd end up arguing instead of planning. Sophia felt like giving up. Then she tried Bregman's advice. At the next meeting, when the argument started, she paused. 1, 2, 3, 4. She asked herself, what's the goal? Then she said, okay, let's focus on one thing at a time. Our first goal is organizing the cleanup. Let's brainstorm tasks for that, and we can discuss the other projects later. The group stayed on track, and the cleanup event was a huge success. Sophia learned that leadership wasn't about doing everything. It was about guiding her team toward one clear goal at a time. Here's how to lead with confidence, even when things feel messy. 1. Pause before you react. Count to 4. Don't let stress dictate your decisions. 2. Focus on priorities. Identify the main goal and stick to it. 3. Communicate clearly. Be calm and direct when sharing your plan. 4. Stay flexible. Leadership isn't about being rigid. It's about adapting thoughtfully. Section 5. Building emotional strength. Picture this. You've been training for months for a track meet. The day arrives, and you're ready to crush it. But during your big race, you trip and fall. The other runners zoom past as you sit there, knees scraped, feeling like a failure. Moments like these, when things go wrong or emotions run high, can feel overwhelming. You might feel like crying, giving up, or letting anger take over. But Peter Bregman explains that emotional strength isn't about avoiding these feelings. It's about learning how to handle them in a way that makes you stronger. And it starts with, you guessed it, 4 seconds. Your brain is like an emotional alarm system. When something bad happens, it fires off a fight or flight response, flooding you with adrenaline and stress. This is great if you're in actual danger, but not so helpful when you're dealing with everyday challenges like an argument or a mistake. Reacting on impulse during emotional moments often leads to regret. You might snap at someone you care about or give up on something important. Bregman's 4-second pause gives you the space to calm down and choose a response that reflects your true goals. Let's go back to the track meet. After falling, you feel like the race is over. You want to stomp off the field, embarrassed and angry. But instead, you pause. 1, 2, 3, 4. In those seconds, you think, I can't change the fall, but I can decide what happens next. You get up and finish the race, even if you're the last one across the line. The crowd cheers, not because you won, but because you didn't give up. And in that moment, you realize you're stronger than you thought. Emotional strength doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. Instead, it's about managing them wisely. 1. Name the feeling. Simply identifying what you're feeling, whether it's anger, sadness, or fear, helps you take control of it. 2. Pause and reflect. Use the 4-second pause to ask yourself, what can I do with this feeling? 3. Channel it productively. Turn anger into motivation, disappointment into determination, or stress into focus. Section 6. Time management and focus. It's Sunday night, and you have a history essay, a math quiz to study for, and a science project due, all by tomorrow. You sit down to work, but your phone buzzes. Just one quick look, you think. An hour later, you're still scrolling, the homework untouched, and the stress piling up. Your brain is like a curious puppy. It loves shiny new things, texts, videos, snacks, and jumps from one to the next without thinking. But constantly switching gears drains your energy and wastes time. Bregman explains that focusing is like building a muscle. Every time you resist a distraction, you're strengthening your ability to stay on task. And those 4 seconds? They're your brain's pause button, giving you time to make smarter choices. Take Alex, a 17-year-old master of procrastination. Every time he sat down to study, his phone lured him away with notifications and funny videos. He'd promise himself just 5 minutes, but 5 minutes always turned into an hour. One day, Alex decided to try the 4-second rule. When his phone buzzed, he paused. 1, 2, 3, 4. In that moment, he asked himself, "Is this helping me finish my work?" The answer was no. He silenced his phone and set a timer for 20 minutes of focused work. At first, it was tough, but over time, Alex found that each pause made it easier to stay focused. He finished his assignments faster and even had time to relax later, guilt-free. Bregman shares a powerful secret. Not everything on your to-do list is equally important. Successful people don't try to do everything. They focus on what matters most. Here's how you can, too. 1. Pause and plan. Before diving into tasks, take 4 seconds to ask yourself, what's the most important thing I need to do right now? 2. Break it down. Big tasks can feel overwhelming, so split them into smaller, manageable steps. 3. Work in blocks. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method, 25 minutes of focus, 5-minute breaks, to stay productive without burning out. The phone challenge. Most of the time, the answer will surprise you, and with practice, you'll find it easier to stay in the zone. 1. Use the pause. Stop before you act on a distraction. 2. Set priorities. Focus on what matters most, not what feels urgent. 3. Limit interruptions. Create a workspace that minimizes distractions. Goodbye, buzzing phone. 4. Celebrate small wins. Each completed task is a step closer to your goals. Try the 4-second pause for a week and see what happens. Start by pausing before every decision, every reaction, and every conversation. How does it change the way you feel? How does it change your life?
恭喜你又听完了一本书，订阅以便不错过更多精彩节目，也别忘了分享给你的朋友，一起快乐听书学英语。